Google's been utterly trashed in the last few months, falling from about $750. By the way, you know who came on the show and said, sell Google right now?
Gee, I don't know, you?
That would be me.
Right.
Selling from $750 today, about $550. That's $200. For the record, I did say you start buying it back higher than it is right now. Amazon's down about 30%, and Yahoo, well, is Yahoo even going to be public anymore after this?
Not by Christmas.
The Yahoo report, obviously, as we just said, not very pretty. The guidance itself is what's going to be
horrible,
freaking out the street tomorrow. At any rate, guys, for more talk on internet earnings and the whole outlook of the internet world is Michael Arrington. He's a big wig over at TechCrunch.com. How you doing, Michael?
Hi.
Thanks for coming to the show.
Thanks for having me on. I'm a big fan.
Try not to spill a drink as I talk to you over here. By the way, that's ginger ale.
It's sure
it's
it
not
is.
Scotch.
Yeah.
So how about these internet companies? You see Yahoo out after hours. Google's going to report later this week. Amazon tomorrow. What's your outlook on some of these guys?
You know, it's a little scary right now. If the advertising market, takes the wrong kind of turn, things could get bad in Silicon Valley pretty quickly. So, Google seems to be healthy. They have a lot of expenses, free lunches for employees. They have a lot of sort of stuff that I think they could try to cut and maybe, hide some of their costs and maybe make their earnings make a number a quarter or two. Yahoo's in trouble.
Well, and I get the idea that Google has a lot of play in how they recognize revenues, too. And they can bring revenues in or push revenues out and just sort of play the game with Wall Street, keep the balls afloat.
Well, the other question is, if advertising spending takes a hit, will online advertising also take a hit? And that's a question that's never really been answered. And so, it's a sort of experiment, and we'll see. And stockholders of Google are, taking a risk.
But Amazon's story is much more bricks and mortar. I mean, they got profit margin squeezes.
Yeah, not only that.
They got price cuts left and right, and they got competitors now between Best Buy and every other online website.
And they're still worth almost as much as, say, Target.
Yeah. No, it's true. And in a recession, Amazon's going to get hit just like any other brick and mortar. And, it's a tough stock to be in right now.
You're an investor in the internet world, too. You've got a lot of private money out there that you play with.
I've invested in a handful of companies.
So what is the sort of the vibe out there right now for capital for startups out there? So many of our viewers are internet startup wannabes. How do they go out? Is there capital right now for them to tap?
There's lots of venture capital out there. Until the VCs get burned, they'll complain about investing, but they won't stop.
It's like Joe Walsh always says, I can't complain, but sometimes I still do.
But I think the VC world is almost like a drug. It's addictive, and it's like challenge to get the next hot
Well, they talk about that there's only like 6 VC funds that really make any money, and then the rest are really just playing with, and yet the LPs keep investing, and the money's out there. They have to invest it in something. So.
But how do you see, the tech outlook going forward for 2008? Be there, don't be there?
I don't really look at, I know that, you guys obviously care about, fiscal quarters. I'm thinking more like the next 5 to 10 years.
So
I think it's really exciting.
Secular growth inside of the economy, like you're sort of hitting on, if advertising itself takes a cyclical downturn, can internet advertising remain a secular grower despite that?
Is that what you look to it? It certainly can. I don't know. It certainly could, because online advertising is still a relatively small percentage of total advertising, and it's growing, and it's taking share from television all the time. Writers strike, a lot more people start going online and all that.
But I think you have to start thinking about it as 2 separate advertising bills. You have your online ads, and you have your bricks and mortars, newspaper kind of ads. Almost like it's 2 different.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and then I think people will start to see this differently, that there is growth potential.
How about Yahoo versus Google? Is there any chance that Yahoo ever? But is there anything that anybody inside of Yahoo could even do to change that fait accompli? Is it already a foregone conclusion? It's over?
I don't always have the right answers, but here's my view on this.
Yes, you do. I've been reading it for years.
I haven't been knowing it yet. So I think that Yahoo's going to have to make some tough decisions. And right now they run a competing ad platform to Google, and they're getting their butt kicked.
They're losing.
And I think at some point, Yahoo might have to make a decision to either lose the ad platform and partner with Google, or lose their company and get sold off to Microsoft or to a hedge fund in pieces. We know hedge funds.
Can you imagine partnering with Google?
Do you think Microsoft could actually make this company work? You do?
Yeah, I do. You have headcount costs, but Microsoft has an ad platform too that they're really trying to push.
Exactly.
So they'd really love to have that Yahoo asset. And then Microsoft has traditionally been a train wreck online.
Right.
And Yahoo has some great properties. So I think the merger makes a lot of sense. Certainly the 2 parties have talked about it.
Yeah.
I think
so
if Microsoft were to buy Yahoo, they could do it basically for cash right now because they have so much cash on the books. But their market cap is still like 10 times the size of Yahoo. Also, they could do it either stock or
Microsoft just needs young blood.
Microsoft and Yahoo would both bounce if that happened, but I don't think Microsoft will wait until.
You think Microsoft would bounce?
I think Microsoft. I do. I actually think Microsoft would bounce, despite being the acquirer. Yeah. But I think they're going to wait for the stock to go down even further before.
But I think Microsoft needs young blood because they're promoting apathy with all those stock options they've given out. They've just made their people rich, and there's no reason to be innovative.
Google coming next. Has Google jumped the shark?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They have, right?
Yeah, but they're really smart people work there, and they have a lot of good ideas. But it's a little bit sort of Shangri-La-ish in the sense that like everything's good, everything's going to be great. What we need to see is Google hit a speed bump, whether it's an advertising recession or something, and then see how they handle it. You know, they've never had anything bad happen to them. So.
Thanks so much for coming today.
Thanks so much,
It's too bad
Michael.
you didn't sublet my office downtown, man. We'll talk more about that later.
All right, well, thank you again. And on tap next, straight from her victory as the new Miss America.
There she is, your ideal, the dream.